Caught in a love triangle, I found myself torn between John, the overworked physician who just declared his love after 2 years of uncertainty, and Hector, my friend's ex, who provides comfort and understanding but carries guilt. "You're the love of my life," Hector says, while John insists, "I'm ready for marriage." As I navigate this emotional chaos, who will I ultimately choose? Hello everyone, I am losing sleep over this matter. It is a lengthy story, and I am typing this quickly, so I apologize for any grammatical errors. I really need assistance. In 2023, I encountered a resident physician through a dating application. Let's refer to him as John. Upon meeting him, I believed I had found my future husband. He was extremely charming, exceptionally intelligent, and very cultured. The prospect of introducing a physician into my family was thrilling, and I felt it would make my parents proud as they highly value academic success. At the time we met, he was in the process of applying for an emergency medicine fellowship. Throughout the time I knew him, he was very busy with his residency. He worked long and arduous hours, was frequently away in other cities for work, and I could barely see him in person. Despite this, we communicated often. He would dedicate every minute he could spare while struggling with a lack of sleep, poor eating habits, and the overall mental and physical rigors of residency. Despite our closeness, John struggled to enter a committed relationship with me, even though I deeply desired one. Whenever I would inquire about his thoughts on any updates regarding our relationship, he would say there were aspects of our dynamic he still needed to explore before he could fully commit. For instance, he often felt a gap in maturity and experience due to our age difference. We are 4 years apart, and he believed he was unable to be emotionally vulnerable with me, though he was uncertain if this was solely with me or if it was a more general issue. John is a highly intelligent person and has frequently stated that he has not found mental stimulation in conversations, which is something he seeks in a partner. He also mentioned that having a partner who earns a high income would be admirable, given that I make $70,000 as a new graduate. The qualities he described for his ideal partner often did not align with who I am. John has frequently expressed that I am not his dream woman and not someone he envisions sharing a future with. Consequently, he felt the need to explore more about me. This required me to violate many personal boundaries. For example, he wanted to explore sexual intimacy because it is an activity associated with emotional vulnerability and something that makes him feel closer to me, particularly unprotected sex. To me, sexual intimacy is sacred, and something I am uncomfortable exploring so openly, as I wish to reserve that for my future husband. Despite these feelings, I engaged and pushed myself to transcend these boundaries because I loved him and wanted to give him the opportunity to fully explore his needs, hoping he would ultimately commit to me. We engaged in an uncommitted but implied exclusive situationship for nearly 2 years. During this time, I deceived my friends by telling them we had stopped seeing each other, as they disapproved of my prolonged involvement in this uncommitted relationship and were concerned for my well-being, yet I continued to see John in secret because I loved him. Towards the end of the 2 years, I began feeling burnt out from longing for someone who did not seem to reciprocate my feelings, and I gradually distanced myself from him. During the latter half of this period, I spent time with my close-knit group of friends, one of whom is named Hector. Hector was introduced to my high school friend group through my friend Emily. Hector and Emily dated for 5 years until a couple of months ago when Hector unexpectedly broke up with Emily. Over the past year, we learned that Emily was experiencing a significant mental health crisis, during which she was periodically admitted to a mental institution. We discovered that throughout their 5-year relationship, Emily had been secretly mentally and physically abusive towards Hector. Hector recounted instances where Emily would hit him. For example, one time while driving, she hit him during a mental health breakdown, prompting onlookers to call the police. Additionally, Emily's mother is also mentally unwell, and her family was facing severe financial difficulties, leading them to rely on Hector for financial assistance. At the time, Hector, a young undergraduate student, and his family spent over 50,000 Canadian to support Emily, which included paying off credit card bills and even buying her multiple laptops and iPhones that she would break during her episodes. Hector felt like a caregiver for Emily. During her mental health crisis, she grew distant from the friend group, and her mentally ill mother did not allow her to go outside due to paranoia. After the breakup, Hector, who had distanced himself while dealing with the turmoil of his relationship with Emily, reintegrated himself into the friend group, which was well received and even strengthened our bonds. Many of us have tried reaching out to Emily to hang out because we feel sympathy for her, but her responses indicate that she perceives our attempts as fake. Personally, although Emily is in the same friend group as me, I was never particularly fond of her. I felt we often clashed, and she was difficult to communicate with. However, we maintained a superficial friendship due to our shared friend group and being physically present in the same spaces. A couple of months ago, Hector acquired a new condominium and frequently invited us over. This was a wonderful time, as he was the first person in our friend group to have his own place, providing us with a small area for privacy and enjoyment. We engaged in various activities, threw parties, ate, drank, and created many memories there. During this time, Hector and I communicated more often and grew closer. In the 5 years we have known each other, we had never spoken unless necessary. Thus, it felt like I had discovered a new friend. We immediately clicked and connected over shared interests, values, and backgrounds. Hector seemed like the male equivalent of myself. Throughout the 5-year duration of Hector and Emily's relationship, I admired how he treated her and how much he loved her. I often wished my boyfriend at the time would demonstrate similar gestures, such as bringing flowers, going on dates, and offering compliments. Suddenly, I found Hector doing kind things for me. For instance, he would make me coffee at 3 a.m. without me asking, simply because I had mentioned it. We went to the gym one-on-one, dined together, and communicated on a daily basis. One night we both expressed interest in going out to a club, a desire I have longed to fulfill, but none of my friends were available. In a state of inebriation, Hector admitted he had feelings for me. I immediately told him no because even though Emily was not actively part of the friend group, he had dated her for 5 years, and I thought that dating a friend's ex would be a significant betrayal, especially given Emily's ongoing mental health issues. Afterward, I considered distancing myself from Hector, but despite my desire to do so, I found it challenging. I missed him and constantly wanted to communicate. During this time, I continued secretly seeing John and asked him for a break, specifically one that would allow us to talk to other people if opportunities arose, as I wanted to explore the possibility of being with Hector. During this break, I went on dates with Hector. He took me to places I had always wanted to visit, brought me flowers, and showed genuine care for me. He organized a Valentine's Day date beneath the stars, which had never been done for me before. Doing special things for me came naturally to Hector. He made it clear that he believed I was the one. He was ready to commit and viewed me as his dream woman. However, he understood the guilt I felt about the situation with Emily, as well as my lingering feelings for John, so he encouraged me to take my time and did not pressure me into making a decision. During this time, I sensed my feelings for Hector starting to develop. Meanwhile, 2 weeks into our break, John called me. He expressed that the brief time apart made him realize he loved me. He explained that previously he had been acting out of logic, but his residency schedule had become a bit more manageable, allowing him time and mental clarity to process his emotions, and he came to the realization that he was in love with me. I informed him about Hector, and he reacted negatively, expressing disgust that I could consider exploring something with not only a close friend, a vital member of my friend group, but also with the ex of someone who was once a close friend. John revealed that he had called to surprise me with flowers and asked me to be his girlfriend. However, because of the situation with Hector, he expressed trust issues, as he has PTSD related to a previous relationship where another man was involved due to being cheated on by his ex. Nevertheless, John still wanted to give me a chance and asked me to sort out my feelings for Hector. He mentioned wanting to travel with me, desiring me as his girlfriend, wife, and the mother of his children. He expressed his love for me. These were all things I had dreamed of hearing at one time, but when John said them, I felt overwhelmed. I shared with Hector that John was back in the picture in this way. This alarmed Hector, who feared losing me, though he did not pressure me to choose him. He told me he would wait for me and urged me to make a decision that would be best for me without worrying about hurting him. He encouraged me to follow my heart. I have been mentally torn apart due to this predicament. At one point, I told Hector I might need to walk away despite my feelings for him because I hated keeping him in such a situation. Nevertheless, Hector consistently fought for me, conveying that I am the love of his life and expressing his desire not to lose me. He stated multiple times that he would take care of me, no matter what he needed to do. John, on the other hand, is somewhat more emotionally volatile. He frequently stated that he would not think twice about me if our relationship were to end and would not want to know what is happening in my life out of respect for his future partner. He is 4 years older than me and is likely to get married within the next year. John also mentioned how he is only a few months away from finishing his residency and that once he completes it, he will have more time to be a loving and dedicated partner. He asserted that I have been patient with him throughout nearly the entirety of his residency, indicating that if he does not end up with me, the next woman essentially benefits from the emotional groundwork I laid during his progress in emotional exploration. However, recently John has been exceedingly affectionate towards me. He brought me roses the other day. He often discusses relationships and marriage. To me, it feels abrupt as there wasn't a gradual build-up to this transformation. He suddenly appeared as a changed person, exhibiting behaviors typical of a boyfriend. He claims he is ready to commit and is merely waiting for me to make a definitive decision to pursue a relationship with him. However, he still harbors trust issues regarding Hector. He stated that to fully trust me, it may require me not seeing Hector, not even in a group setting. I am conflicted because, as superficial as it may seem, status and prestige hold significant meaning for me. Choosing John virtually ensures financial freedom, as he will become a physician earning between 300,000 and 500,000 Canadian within the next year. John also claims that with more time, which he asserts he will have after his residency, he can be a caring and loving partner and fulfill my needs. The idea of bringing a doctor who shares my cultural background into my family is something that would impress my parents, family, and friends. However, I recognize that as a working physician, he will likely be busy and unavailable much of the time. I continue to be in awe of his intelligence and frequently look forward to our intellectually stimulating conversations. I often find myself seeking advice and guidance from him, as well as alternative perspectives. Nonetheless, I find his ultralogical personality and occasional emotional detachment challenging to navigate, as I often feel the need to argue my feelings for him to grasp their significance. In contrast, Hector accepts me as I am. I do not have to compromise my boundaries with him. He effortlessly plans dates and comprehends me in ways that require less explanation. He consistently expresses a desire to care for me and would go to great lengths for my happiness. Despite my situation with John, Hector remains very trusting and is prepared to pursue a relationship the moment I indicate my readiness. He comes from a loving and well-off family, with a mother I know would accept me unconditionally. His father is a senior scientist at a university and earns a comfortable income. Hector is currently pursuing a master's degree and plans to obtain a PhD in a field related to artificial intelligence. He believes he will eventually secure a well-paying job, potentially around the 200,000 mark. My parents are aware of him since he was part of my friend group, and I believe they would approve of him. I am simply concerned about the guilt of entering into a relationship with Hector, given that he is the ex of a former long-term friend, Emily, who is no longer actively part of our group. Hector and Emily dated for 5 years and were well known in our community, so I fear rumors and drama about being a homewrecker from those unfamiliar with the history. Additionally, if Hector and I were to break up for any reason in the future, it could force our friends to choose between us and potentially lead to the loss of my closest friends. While Hector is becoming more engaged as a conversationalist, he does not challenge me mentally in the same way John does. However, he excels at doing thoughtful and caring things. I am conflicted because I have feelings for two individuals, and I am profoundly afraid of regret. I worry that if I choose Hector, I will later think about how John may be treating his next partner well and how she will enjoy a prestigious and comfortable lifestyle due to his income, despite me being the one who enabled John to progress in his emotional exploration. Yet I am uncertain how much trust John needs to see in me before he can fully commit. If I decide to go with John, I will contemplate how loving Hector would also be toward his future partner. Hector would likely introduce his new partner into our friend group, something I would have to live with. Please provide any insights and guidance regarding this situation. If you were in my position, whom would you choose? Story 2. My 18-year-old girlfriend went from my soulmate to a mental drain, demanding money and playing jealousy games like I might flirt with other guys. After months of her avoiding serious talks, is it time to cut my losses, or could she realize how good we could be together? Hello, please read this if you enjoy relationship stories and are willing to offer advice to a mentally exhausted individual. I am 22 years old and began a relationship with a girl who is 4 years younger than I am. We have been together since November. Until the end of January, everything was genuinely wonderful. We laughed about trivial matters, met frequently, shared a lot of affection, engaged in oral sex, and had profound conversations. She appeared very mature, and I could hardly believe she was only 18. She is completing high school while I am finishing college, so initially I was uncertain about the age difference, but I found her intriguing. It felt as though I had encountered a soulmate, which is something I rarely experience. However, in February, some issues began to surface. From the start of our relationship, she called me quite frequently, even when I was working out at home or during my job. I work remotely, so technically I can talk, but honestly, how much is too much? Often, I struggled to concentrate on what she was saying. Most of the time, it revolved around trivial topics such as Jane has such teeth, Catherine is so overweight, which handbag should I carry today, or should I wear makeup tomorrow? I generally prefer chatty girls over those who are silent, but at times, it simply became overwhelming. I started to feel dissatisfied with her constant pressure. Jealousy, she activated location sharing on my iPhone so we can see each other's whereabouts. If she learned about any girls near me, she would become visibly irritated, and her generally immature perspective on the future. She did not display this immaturity until February, so either she was skilled at concealing it or something changed in her disposition. In March, we experienced several weeks of fluctuating contact due to arguments. This was primarily because, since February, I had wanted to have a serious talk with her about things that genuinely bothered me, whether we could change certain aspects, where she perceived flaws in me so that I could improve, and so on. However, she consistently evaded these discussions. Instead, she preferred posting pictures on Instagram, altering her profile picture on Facebook, and developing a makeup-related page, since she intends to pursue makeup artistry for income. Ultimately, she never actually listened to me. I became extremely frustrated, and at one point still in February, I felt that this relationship was becoming pointless if she refused to engage in communication. I continued to try to take her seriously, listen, and spend time with her, even if it was just watching movies together. But nearly every time we met, I wanted her to do something for me, probably out of sheer frustration. Even when she was not in the mood, I kept encouraging her. She noticed this, and things likely deteriorated because of it. Simultaneously, she began to ask me for increasingly more money. For example, buy me this makeup and I will be happy, hee hee. I have never encountered such a situation before. Initially, it felt somewhat exciting, something new, but gradually, I felt both unheard and exploited. This culminated in an argument. She still did not want to talk. She preferred standing in front of the mirror, examining her hair and pulling at it out of frustration, so I left and we did not communicate for a week. Later, we had a phone conversation even though I had wanted to meet in person. She claimed I had treated her poorly and that she was extremely angry. She is generally very short-tempered and explosive, which I will address shortly. The following weekend, we went out and resolved some issues. 3 or 4 days later, I began to feel the same way again, as if she were not listening to me at all. She only talks about what she is doing, and I am expected to listen, occasionally comment, and meet up on the weekends. That being said, deep down, she is a good person. I can sense that. She is not a bad person. She simply has many internal struggles that she is projecting onto me. She becomes angry, argues, records TikToks, sleeps during the day, posts Instagram stories almost daily featuring her selfies, gets irritated by everything around her, and snaps at her parents. And the more I attempt to minimize this behavior, the worse it becomes. Recently, she has even been making jokes about things like, "Oh, that bus driver is so attractive," or "Next weekend, I am going out on the town with my friend to flirt while you're preoccupied." It's as if she suddenly believes that just because she is very pretty, she can do whatever she wants and I will always be there. Or if not me, then some other guy. Is there any way to alter this situation? How can I initiate another serious conversation? Are there any effective phrases that truly resonate with women, especially those who possess a degree of insecurity? Because I believe she is insecure, considering she attempts to provoke my jealousy. Or should I distance myself from her, ignore her, and if nothing improves, simply end the relationship? Or should I break up, thank her, and await any realizations she may have on her own? In summary, my girlfriend is mentally exhausting me. I began taking advantage of her, and then she started taking advantage of me even more. Now I am drained because she refuses to communicate, yet at the same time, I do not want to lose her because she has a good heart.